This is CBS.
Neil Moore is off tonight. At this hour in Zionsville, a rescue operation is underway. 2 men apparently buried alive under hundreds of pounds of dirt. In the Persian Gulf today, a routine attack followed by a rescue that was anything but routine. And a conservative trend could be developing on the Indiana Parole Board, something prisoners may not want to hear about. The Indiana Hoosiers go for the win in their own holiday tourney tonight. And Tom Magnuson says tomorrow may be better. Stay with us. News 8 is just ahead.
Look, what do your wondering eyes now appear? Only at Burger King. It's cuddly reindeer. There's Rodney, Ramona, Rhonda, and Randy at $1.99 each. The price is just dandy. Get a deer with your Whopper. Order one with your shake. Collect all 4 now. What presents they'll make. And for each reindeer you buy, Burger King will make a donation to the Children's Miracle Network this holiday season. Just look for your neighborhood Burger King sign for a merrier Christmas and the best food for fast times.
He's very quiet, Andrew. He'll be here any time now. But remember, when you hear ho, 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 you must pretend to be asleep. Last year, I really was asleep, but not this year. I'm big now. What was that? Was that something on the roof? Nope, not yet. Are you getting sleepy, Andrew? It's very late, but we're going to stay up all night this time.
Dreams do come true at Washington Square.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And if you can, please, help someone else have a Merry Christmas, too.
The Salvation Army, believing in miracles.
You're tuned to Wish TV, Channel 8 in Indianapolis. With Neil Moore and Tina Cosby. Weather with meteorologist Tom Magnuson. And sports with Jim Barker. This is News 8.
Good evening. A feverish rescue attempt is underway in Zionsville at this hour. 2 construction workers were buried in a sewer collapse there earlier this evening. Rescuers say one of the men is completely buried by dirt. The other, trapped in dirt waist high, is reportedly helping emergency personnel in the rescue. The 2 were apparently doing construction work in a new subdivision when the collapse occurred. Evacuation efforts have been underway now for just over an hour. The man completely buried by dirt is reportedly not breathing. The other is talking. There's no word yet on how long it may take to free the 2. Well, news crews often find themselves in the thick of action when covering dramatic stories, but only once in a great while do they actually become part of the story. That was the case in the Persian Gulf today when a CBS crew covering the dangerous shipping lane near the Strait of Hormuz suddenly had to take part in a rescue mission.
Trailed by a river of blazing oil, the stricken supertanker Pivot steamed in helpless circles. Oil gushed in a fiery spout from a hole in the ship's side, fueling the flames on the sea. The fire engulfed the tanker's bridge and engine room. Lifeboats hung useless. The crew huddled on the ship's bow as far as possible from the raging fires. The U.S. Navy destroyer Chandler sent a helicopter, lowered a sailor to the deck, and began taking off crewmen. But the helicopter had to winch people up and could only carry 3 at a time. The CBS News helicopter landed on the tanker to assist. Frightened that the ship might explode, sailors rushed the helicopter.
Wait. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here.
Several had to be forced off so the helicopter could get airborne. Victims were taken from the fiery inferno to the U.S. destroyer. It was the first time an American warship has been involved in such a rescue operation in the Gulf. It took half a dozen trips by the 2 helicopters to airlift 40 people to safety. Among them was a pregnant woman. The supertanker had been heading out of the Gulf when a gunboat came alongside.
It was an Iranian war boat and asked me, what's your destination, where you come from?
The captain told the Iranians his tanker was from Cyprus, carrying 1.5 million barrels of Saudi Arabian crude oil. The gunboat radioed, "Have a good trip." Then
After 5 minutes, go back, bam, 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 bam.
Gulf shipping sources speculated that the Iranians may have fired incendiary shells to set the tanker on fire.
The U.S. Navy was in the area when this tanker was hit, but was powerless to do anything about it. The Navy's rules of engagement limit its role to assisting tankers like this after they've been hit.
Yeah, we were right over here. They called Mayday. We heard Mayday first, then we saw the smoke, and we came over.
The Chandler steamed away and transferred its passengers to a tugboat. The tanker's captain and 3 crewmen stayed on board their ship to try and save what they could, while tugboats hovered nearby to fight the flames and make sure the crippled vessel did not endanger other ships in the busy sea lane. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, aboard the supertanker Pivot.
Well, barring an escalation of violence in the Persian Gulf, the prices we pay for oil and gasoline may be taking a drop. OPEC oil ministers meeting in Vienna today failed to come up with a new price and quota plan, causing observers to predict a sharp decline in world oil prices. The ministers did tentatively agree to extend their current system, but some analysts think that cheating could force oil prices to drop below $15 a barrel in a short period of time. Well, the U.S. Senate said yes to a White House request for non-military aid to Contra rebels in Nicaragua. The assistance is part of a $606 billion spending bill passed by the Senate early this morning following a 17-hour session by the lawmakers. The massive spending bill finances federal government programs for the current fiscal year. It must now be reconciled with the House version that contains no money for the Contras. If a compromise can't be reached by Thursday, government offices around the country once again may face the possibility of being shut down. Well, another congressional battle looming on the horizon is the nuclear weapons treaty signed this week during the superpower summit between President Reagan and Soviet leader Gorbachev. The president expressed confidence that the Senate would quickly approve the agreement to eliminate U.S. and Soviet intermediate-range nuclear weapons. The plan drew the approval from Congressman Stephen Solars. During the Democratic Weekly Radio address, Solars cautioned against conservative amendments that could hurt the treaty.
If a conservative Republican president like Ronald Reagan, whom no one has ever before accused of being soft on communism, is unable to persuade the Senate to reject killer amendments and ratify the treaty, the Soviets are likely to conclude that no president will ever be able to persuade the Senate to approve such agreements.
Indiana Senator Richard Lugar said today the INF treaty could prove essential to enacting future arms agreements with the Soviets.
There can never be certainty with verification, but this particular protocol is the best one we have produced. It has on-site inspection, intrusion into the Soviet Union, which is a breakthrough, and I think it's important. It offers us a good way, pragmatically, to find out, before we get into more complex treaties, how well this works and what improvements we should make.
About 20 senators seem firm in their opposition to the treaty. A poll shows that more than 70% of all Americans favor the arms agreement. Well, the wife of one of the men who wants to be president next year campaigned on behalf of her mate today in Indianapolis. Kitty Dukakis, wife of Massachusetts Democratic Governor Michael Dukakis, told a group of private supporters on the Northwest Side today her husband has what it takes.
Michael feels very strongly that this window of time is also a unique opportunity to learn and to grow in areas in which you're not familiar, and he's perfectly happy with this window of time. We've been at this for 8 months now, and if he's successful in the caucus and primary states, then we will be at it for a good long time until next November, I hope.
Mrs. Dukakis says she and her husband will campaign both separately and together to cover as much territory as possible. Well, still ahead on News 8, we'll tell you why some convicted criminals in Indiana may be longing for the good old days.
Local hospitals are feeling the pinch. There's a shortage of rubber gloves. I'm Helen Somerset. That story coming up next on News 8.
Petey, we're going to share our Christmas this year.
Will you share your blessings this year? Send your donation to the United Christmas Service, 1828 North Meridian.
Make Galleons your sports center for the holidays, because Galleons has it all. To make those backwoods mealtimes sizzle, the Peak 1 stove. It's lightweight, only 28 ounces, and it comes with a free quart container of white gas at all 3 Galleons locations, just $29.99. And the handiest little light you ever took camping, the Maglite Mini Mag flashlight with Krypton bulb and lifetime warranty. Galleons priced at only $9.99. Are you serious about your sports? You know we are. Galleons.
Listen to the heartbeat. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh yeah.
Today's Chevrolet Celebrity. It has the comfort, security, and performance for people who've grown up without growing old.
The heartbeat of America. Yesterday, Chevrolet.
Convicted criminals in Indiana may stand a smaller chance of getting an early release from the state parole board than at any other time in the last century. An internal review of the 5-member panel shows it has recommended 117 commutations of sentences for prison inmates since 1980. That is far fewer than in a 7-year period in the last 100 years. Parole Board Chairman Louis Gregory says it's premature to draw conclusions until the 1980s are over, but acknowledges the numbers are well down from previous decades. Well, a closely watched trial in Philadelphia ended today with a reputed mob boss and 4 associates all acquitted of federal drug charges. Nicodeme Scarfo, known as Little Nicky, raised a clenched fist in victory today as a jury foreman read the verdicts of not guilty. The men had been charged with trying to corner the market on illegal amphetamines in Philadelphia, but Scarfo is not a free man. He still faces 14 years in prison for his conviction of plotting to extort $1 million from a Philadelphia land developer. Well, the AIDS crisis is causing another problem, a surprising offshoot of medical professionals wanting to protect themselves from potentially contaminated blood and body fluids. News 8's Helen Somerset explains.
When the Centers for Disease Control made a national declaration last summer that rubber gloves had to be used when performing nearly all medical procedures, hospitals had no idea of the numbers they go through every day. But due to the potential hazards of contracting AIDS, medical professionals were typically more than happy to comply with the mandate. But now a problem. There's a serious shortage of gloves. The supply room at Wishart is restocked as well as it can be every Wednesday. By the weekend, numbers are down. Administrators claim they've never run out completely, but they've come close.
To this point, we have no relief in the future. The manufacturers have not come back to us and said we will have plenty of gloves.
Another reason for the scant supply? More people than ever are using gloves. Emergency medical technicians now consider it to be required gear. Most of the time, they don't even know the name and certainly not the medical history of the injured party. One surgical supply company says glove manufacturers have begun to limit the number of cases they will sell to dealers. National demand has skyrocketed from 5 million to 15 million units in just 1 month.
Which basically means, in effect, that the demand tripled for them. And obviously their manufacturing facilities didn't have the capability of reacting that quickly.
Area suppliers and hospitals agree the shortage is by no means just a local problem. In fact, the situation on the east and west coast has gotten to the point where, according to one medical professional, surgeries have had to be postponed until the needed gloves were available. Helen Somerset, Reach TV, News 8.
Although hospitals are telling their employees to be careful with the number of gloves used, they are by no means asking that the protective devices be reused.
Well, a beautiful day we did not have today across central Indiana, with plenty of wind and clouds across the region. And up next, I'm going to tell you about a major storm that's heading in our general direction.
Enter the Village Pantry Winter Getaway Sweepstakes. Just fill out an entry blank. You could win a 1988 Chevy S10 pickup or win one of 2 8-day and 7 unforgettable night vacations for 2 in San Francisco or Los Angeles. You could win a video cassette recorder or a 13-inch sharp color television. You could be a winner in the Village Pantry Winter Getaway Sweepstakes. But you can't win unless you enter at Village Pantry, in your neighborhood or on your way home. No purchase necessary.
Hi, I just moved in next door. Could I borrow a Diet Pepsi?
Sure.
Yes.
Be right with you.
When you go all out for taste, the taste to go out for is Diet Pepsi.
You okay in there?
Here's your Diet Pepsi.
Thanks. I hope it wasn't too much trouble.
No trouble at all.
Diet Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
You hear the thunder, the call of the go. You feel the power, you gotta go. You feel excitement. Ride the Bonneville. Get on your Bonneville and ride. Bonneville ride.
A full-size sedan with Pontiac excitement. Test drive a Bonneville and check it out.
If you like Giorgio perfume at $165 an ounce, or Obsession at $170 an ounce, or Opium at $175 an ounce, or Oscar at $175 an ounce, or Joy at $210 an ounce, you'll love our fabulous Fakes versions at just $9.95 an ounce. Now, in our 24% lead crystal gift bottles, if you can't smell the difference, why pay the difference? Save an incredible 94% on perfume at Hook Drug, Kmart, and Marsh.
Tom Magnuson is approved by the American Meteorological Society.
Well, it could have been worse today. It could have been better today. It was one of your typical mid-December days.
All right. I was talking to you earlier. I had understood that we were thinking maybe we'd have a snowstorm next week.
Well, that was a few days ago, and this thing wasn't even on the Pacific coast yet that the Weather Service was saying maybe some snow with this system. But right now it looks like it's going to behave like most systems do in mid-December. It's going to curve on to the northwest of us. So we'll look forward to that in the next 2 or 3 days. Today, though, well, we had 42 for a high. We had blustery winds, so it didn't feel that warm. The low temperature this morning was 35, and we've matched that right now. Normals are 40 and 25 for the date. And as far as rainfall or snowfall in the area, we had a few snowflakes and sprinkles across the area this evening. That's about all we could muster. Right now, cloudy skies. We're to 35. The dew point is 25 degrees. The relative humidity at 67%. Wind is still gusty, west at 15 to 23 miles an hour, and the barometric pressure 29, 89, and rising. Again, here's your high temperatures in the area today. A big range right in Indiana from 36 at South Bend and Fort Wayne all the way up to 51 degrees at Evansville and Louisville, and we were stuck in the middle here in central Indiana. But as you know, it didn't feel that warm because we did have clouds and a strong west winds at times gusting up to around 30 miles per hour. In fact, the wind chill from noon to 11 o'clock, that's the present time, we saw ranging between about 15 and 20 degrees in the afternoon hours. Then for a time in the early evening, the winds died down a little bit and it felt as mild as 25 degrees, but the winds picked up again the last 2 or 3 hours, and wind chills now are between 10 and 15 degrees across central Indiana. So, well, you got to bundle up when you go out this evening. As far as the clouds are concerned, we had them this afternoon, and they have been showing some signs of breaking up and lifting off to the northeast as this storm system right here is going to start to move to the northeast. But look at all the clouds down here to the south and the southwest, a major storm developing there, and in fact some snows have broken out across the northwestern part of New Mexico in response to this storm right here that we're going to watch very carefully over the next 2 to 3 days. That storm right now producing some snow across New Mexico. You can see it right there on our super radar imagery here. In fact, there is a chance for 5 to 10 inches of snow in parts of Arizona, the northern half of New Mexico, and southern Colorado before this is all over. Meantime, off to the east, it's warm enough to rain in scattered areas up there. But again, our focus is in the southwest. And in fact, with that snow tomorrow, highs only in the teens and the 20s in the southwest and in the Rockies. Here in Indiana, though, it looks like some 30s and 40s. You got to go to Florida to see any warmth. High temperatures there in the 70s. Now then, by early tomorrow morning, that low pressure may actually move a little bit farther west. We are going to see the snows breaking out in the southern and central Rockies. High pressure here will keep us kind of on the quiet side tomorrow, and less wind too. Then early Monday, a big shield of precipitation moving toward us. Right now it looks like the rain snow line is going to move north of Indianapolis during the day on Monday. So this is going to be a fairly mild and wet system. My forecast then for the rest of the weekend, a mixture of clouds and stars tonight with a low of 28. Tomorrow, less wind, a mix of sun and clouds, a high of 40. Then for tomorrow night, partly cloudy, a low of 28. And for Monday, a chance for some rain and snow showers, a high around 37, hinting more toward rain now. Then on Tuesday, a chance for rain, highs in the 40s, and a chance for flurries on Wednesday with high temperatures in the 30s. So right now, looks like we're going to escape this one if you don't like snow.
Yeah, well, I liked it. But anyway, maybe in time for Christmas, huh?
Well, we could.
We could. Oh, good. Well, coming up next in sports, Coach Ramsey and the Pacers go up against an old nemesis with familiar results. Dick Rea has highlights.
Terra Treatment Center specializes in the treatment of women with alcohol and drug addictions. For information, call 812-526-2611.
Look, what do your wondering eyes now appear? Only at Burger King. It's cuddly reindeer. There's Rodney, Ramona, Rhonda, and Randy. At $1.99 each, the price is just dandy. Get a deer with your Whopper. Order one with your shake. Collect all four now. What presents they'll make. And for each reindeer you buy, Burger King will make a donation to the Children's Miracle Network this holiday season. Just look for your neighborhood Burger King sign for a merrier Christmas and the best food for fast times.
I wanted to buy an American car.
Listen to the heartbeat.
I'd always been looking for a foreign car just because they look real sporty and I like the image that it portrays.
Listen to the heartbeat.
I wanted it to be more practical. I wanted to get a car which I felt safe in, which I could fit in, and would be a good value for my money.
The heartbeat of America.
My car.
That's today's Chevrolet.
It's our Nova.
If you can do this, or this, or this, you can load a Fuji drop-in load camera. Fuji drop-in load cameras are the easiest 35mm cameras in the world to load. And if you want to take a perfectly exposed, sharply focused picture, all you have to do is this. Fuji cameras. Now beautiful pictures are a snap.
Dick Rea here, sitting in for Jim Barber. You were talking about IU winning barely. At one point in time, they were losing.
Yeah, there used to be a time when this classic was a breeze for them, but the last 2 years they've had their problems, and Washington State proved to be a worthy opponent tonight. Bob Knight looking for his Indiana team to start sustaining intelligent play. Tonight's championship of the Indiana Classic against Washington State. Hoosiers had their hands full most of the way. Keith Smart to Ricky Callaway to Steve Isle, who's back in the starting lineup, comes through with 16 points. Smart to Callaway, he's the tourney MVP with 14 points tonight. Washington with some great three-point shooters in Brian Wright and Sanders, who had 15, were tied with Indiana 26-26 at the half. Actually led Indiana late in the game, but the Hoosiers come back strong in the final 5 minutes. Get a jump shot out of Keith Smart, a three-pointer there, 19, and the Hoosiers win 63-56. In West Lafayette, Purdue held Ball State to 14 points in the first half. Derek Wesley had 18 for Coach Rick Majerus, but the Cards were down 59-14. Everett Stevens led Purdue with 16 points, 7 for 7 field goal shooting. Troy Lewis, with the assist from Todd Mitchell, hit 3 from three-point range this afternoon for 13 for Coach Gene Cady. Mitchell comes up with a steal and a slam, 14 for Todd. Boilers coast to a 96-47 win for the head man, Gene Cady.
We played a lot sharper offensively. We moved better. We were a little more patient. And, of course, the fact we hit our free throws made things a little bit better.
It's always nice to have that happen. Number 1, Kentucky let a 13-point halftime lead get away to arch rival Louisville. This one goes down to the wire at Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. The tournament atmosphere again. Cardinals, though, with too many turnovers in the first half. Rex Chapman with the solo effort. It was 45-32 Kentucky at the half. Louisville goes ahead, though, 75-74 with 38 seconds to play. Purvis from the corner. Game on the line. Wildcats go to Davender. He misses, but Cedric Jenkins gets the tap in as the clock winds down. Kentucky wins it by 1, 76-75. At the Rosemont Horizon, Digger Phelps and number 9 Notre Dame were upset by DePaul, the home team, in the white. Despite 26 points from David Rivers, the Irish let a 6-point lead slip away in the final 2.5 minutes. Rivers in a crowd throws it away. Rod Strickland to Kevin Edwards. Game goes into overtime tied at 63. Strickland has 22 points to lead the Blue Demons over Notre Dame 73-69 in overtime. A lot of scores to check out tonight. The big one involving Arizona and Iowa, and Arizona wins on Iowa's home floor. Big win for Lute Olson. Pittsburgh, no problem. SMU is beaten by North Carolina 90-74. Wyoming over UAB on UAB's home floor. Syracuse over Canisius 92-77. Memphis State is a winner over Missouri. Michigan, no problem with their state rival Eastern Michigan. Loyola beats Wisconsin of the Big Ten. In the consolation game of the Classic down in Bloomington, James Madison wins on a late basket, and Butler loses on the road tonight in overtime. NBA, the Pacers' problems against Portland continue. The Blazers have had the upper hand now the last 9 times those two teams have met, and Jack Ramsey is now 0-4 against his former NBA team since coming to the Pacers. Herb Williams has one stolen away by Jerome Kersey, and he goes all the way for the lay-in for the Portland Trailblazers. Herb to Vern to Reggie. The Pacers kind of sporadic, moving in spurts offensively. Reggie, one bright spot tonight with 17 points. It was Steve Johnson doing a lot of damage for the Portland Trailblazers tonight. He has 33 points and a big effort on the road as they break a losing streak. Person on the break will feed it again to Reggie. Reggie, 8 for 9 field goal percentage, and usually when you're that close, you don't miss them. Steepo to Wayman Tisdale. Wayman comes through 10 points, big jam, trying to get some momentum going late in the game, but really can't do much about the effort that Portland has. Chuck Person comes in on the drive all the way, feeds off to Vern. Scott Skiles comes off the bench, 11 points, but the Pacers lose 108-101, game high 28 for Clyde Drexler. Jack Ramsey not happy with the outcome.
We get selfish, getting quick shots, getting perimeter shots, giving the other team a chance to run the ball, and good teams will take advantage.
Around the NBA tonight, in the game this afternoon, I should say, Denver over Philadelphia by 10. Washington has beaten New Jersey 122-107. The Knicks lose again, 124-96, and San Antonio has just beaten Phoenix 129-110. Make it San Antonio 129-110 a winner. Today on Channel 8, Ralph Sampson had 20 points for the Rockets against the Bulls in Chicago. Jordan to Scottie Pippen at the buzzer to end the first half. The Bulls led this game all the way. Michael Jordan has 44 points, playing in typical fashion. Bulls win this afternoon at home, 112-103. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the Dome, it's the Colts and the Buffalo Bills. The winner will emerge as one of the people in the driver's seat in the AFC East. Here's how Coach Ron Meyer sees the game.
There's no magical secret that we have. We're just playing hard every single snap on defense. We're trying to play non-turnover type football and make them go the total length of the football field if they are going to try to attack your end zone or kick a field goal. So I think we're just playing good, solid football.
Ron Meyer's only been here for a year, and he's going for his 11th win tomorrow as the Colts head coach.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Dick. Well, as we told you at the top of the show, rescue efforts were underway in Zionsville for 2 men trapped. We go live now as one of them has just been pulled out, as you're looking at a live picture of the rescue attempt here in Zionsville. This was obviously one of the men, one of the 2 workers there who was buried in a sewer collapse. We'll continue and follow and update the story as details become available. We'll have more news when we come back.
With just 2 weeks left before Christmas, Santa's elves are still very busy. I'm Rick Dawson. Next on News 8, a report from Santa's Indiana workshop.
Sometimes love is grand.
From 1 to 10, I would have to rate Tony as a 30.
Sometimes love is unpredictable.
He doesn't know how to leave a tip. He left change, and when he thought I wasn't looking, he went and got that.
And sometimes love hurts.
Like you said, I'm too much man for a woman like you. Yeah, you fat. That's what it means.
The Love Connection, weekdays at 5 on Wish TV, Channel 8.